Ugh, man, another boring day. I wonder what to do. Oh wait, I'm about to hit 100 subs. Then again, I'll probably have to make another video just to gain 3 or 4 more. In fact, let's go see how many I have until I reach 100. Holy cow. Y'all, I couldn't even have made one video before y'all beat me to it. That's crazy. But hey, 100 subs. Thank you all so much for this milestone and many to come. I still haven't decided if I'm going to do like a giveaway, a face reveal, or like a tutorial of how I make my videos or something along those lines. But I'll figure something out. I won't keep y'all in the deep dark about it too long. And speaking of deep dark, let's talk about the ancient cities. First thing we should address is the strange out-of-place block that occupies the ancient city. This being wool. Now, if you haven't been to an ancient city, you will probably be wondering, why is there wool here in an abandoned structure deep underground? And well, the answer is in the science of Minecraft. You see, there is sound in Minecraft. Sound is seemingly just vibrations of air molecules, meaning when a player makes a sound, it sends vibrations into the air. Vibrations that can be sent to a skulk sensor, which then can be sent to a skulk shrieker, which can in turn summon the most powerful mob in Minecraft so far. This mob being the Warden. Wool blocks are used to block vibrations from the player. Wool blocks also do not make vibrations when walked on. This is something the ancient builders, the same ones we have talked about before, had known. So I'm going to assume that the ancient builders had built this place known as the ancient city. Another point of evidence is the items and loot you can find in a chest scattered around the ancient city. That's right, you can find snowballs. And some of you may be wondering, why is that important? Well, you see, snowballs are used to distract a warden and lead it to a certain area or away from a player by throwing them. So these two details about the ancient city let us know something. The ancient builders were not here without knowledge. They knew of the warden and how it acted and behaved. They knew of its power and that the warden doesn't play around. But you may be wondering right now, why on earth did the ancient builders stay down there then? Like, there's a lot of evidence they were down there for a while. From food, to the icebox, to pools, to even the redstone room for studying. They obviously were down there for a reason. But there wasn't anything stopping them from going back up to the surface, right? Well, before I can get into that, let's talk about why the ancient builders built the ancient cities in this biome known as the Deep Dark. You see, skulk grows down here, but where did it come from? Well, skulk doesn't just grow in the ancient city. There's a lot of times deep dark biomes can spawn, but the ancient city doesn't, in turn making these little skulk pockets. To flip the tables, nearly all ancient cities have skulk in them, somewhere. So this all begs the question, why do the ancient builders build these cities in the deep dark? They wanted to use the skulk for something. They deemed it useful for something. They wanted to live here for something. But what? Or should I say, but why? Well, let me say this. The skulk seems to be a natural spawning thing, right? Obviously, I mean, they spawn naturally in skulk pockets. The only argument I can see making these things be man-made is that the sensors give off redstone signals, but even then, that's natural too. In fact, you have electrical signals going through you right now. That's how you move muscles and do motor skills with your limbs. It's electrical signals that are controlled by your brain, receptors, muscle fibers, and your nervous system. Not to mention, there's electricity in nature all the time. From lightning and static electricity, from the rotation of the earth giving you the power of magnets, auroras, or however you say that word, electrical fish like eels, along with solar storms. But anyways, so yeah, skulk is natural, and also very much alive. Alive being that it feeds off the souls of dead mobs. When a mob dies on skulk, the catalyst grows in size. Well, this all brings me back to the main question. Why did the ancient builders build here? Well, let us address the biggest threat and the reason why they are living here. The Warden. You see, the Warden is based on souls. You can see this based on the centerpiece in its chest. A breathing, almost heart-like texture that contains souls just like soul sand. Now, have you stopped to notice how the Warden looks? It is obviously related to skulk. I mean, just look at it. Also, the skulk must seem to store souls from the dead. I mean, that's how it grows, right? So I think when a Warden spawns, it uses soul energy from the skulk. Said by the devs, it is a force of nature, not a boss or a mob. So if it's such a powerful enemy, why do the ancient builders want to be near it? Well, I know the answer. It isn't because they wanted to kill it. No. It is protecting them. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. The name Warden means guardian, protector of a place. But what if it's protecting them from something else? A force that drove them down to the bedrock in seek of safety and out of pure terror. I think the Warden is protecting the ancient builders from the Wither. By the way, the portal at the center of the city isn't a portal, I don't think. I actually think it's a shrine for the Warden to, kinda worship it so it doesn't use that supersonic shriek to kill them. Not to mention how many freaking candles you can find in the cities in order to worship and praise the Warden. So the story goes like this. The ancient builders, while very smart and creative, accidentally created withers. They knew they would be no chance against the undead beast, so they hid underground, deep next to the bedrock. They set up base and lived here in the deep dark biome with the skulk, experimenting on it in the redstone labs. But the inevitable had come. A wither climbs down a cave in search of the ancient builders. The ancient builders panicked as soon as the wither appeared. The ancient builders would summon one last hope they had. Using the shriekers, they summoned it. The Warden. The builders celebrated. They finally had a way to protect themselves from this evil force. But then, the sacrifices started. They had to keep the Warden at bay, but they couldn't risk wreaking havoc on the city. So, one by one, the builders made the race go extinct, feeding their souls to the deep dark, making the skulk grow with every last soul. Now granted, there is some problems with this theory. Mainly, why does the sensor and the shrieker only be activated by players and not by any mobs at all? But if you can come up with a better theory, tell me down in the comments. But anyways, I know this video was a more darker one considering it's talking about death of an entire race sacrificing themselves to keep a monster at ease, but nevertheless, thank you all so much for 100 subs and I'll catch y'all in the next one.